you go and you said that you're Mexican, people will always telling you, Mexico! Viva Mexico! Viva
Lips and body that is gorgeous and strong, and yeah, you get the analogy.
Embrace the other.
Welcome to the Mexican. Oh, nice.
Mexican Belizean Italian house.
Oh, nice. And it's so greeny.
Yeah. Never have I ever would I imagine to have our own backyard, but for 3 people, very nice. Very great.
I am welcome to the.
Welcome to our casino.
I see the first Mexican. Good morning. Yeah, because of the onions. Oh, sorry. So the Mexicans are cooking, and some nice Mexican music. Where is the music coming from? Oh, can you hear it?
This is
Smaller.
And the guys are in the kitchen. Nice cooks. Handsome cooks, handsome chef.
No one, neither the other. Neither one nor the other.
Yeah.
Nor handsome, nor chef.
No, that's not. This is more of a Mexican. You could see how it is handled and how it's held. And see, but we those who are not see how we are doing it. That's really bad.
Now, but you don't review. What did you think of the mole, the sauce?
Okay.
Try it.
To my world of viewers, welcome to today's interview. I have with me some Mexicanes.
Hola.
Just introduce yourself to us. Who do we have here today?
Hola, Ralph Brand viewers. I am Daniel Acosta. I come from Mexico City, and I'm studying this master in tropical ecology. Nice to meet you all.
¿Cómo está la banda? My name is Kevin Madrigal. I'm also from Mexico, but I grew up in a really small state that is on the east side of Mexico City. It is called Tlaxcala. It's a really important place in terms of history and culture of Mexico. I like a lot of things. I have different interests, music, sports, like knowledge in general, especially abstract things, I would say, like philosophy, stuff like that, So yeah, that's me. Because yes, exactly, I'm agnostic. Because I do think that we don't have enough knowledge, enough evidence to prove or disprove the evidence of God, like the existence of God. Sorry.
From Mexico, where have you traveled to aside your country?
Which other countries I visited beside of Mexico? I went to the US because I won a scholarship for a summer research program in the University of New Mexico. I have some family that live there, so I visited. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I visited, thanks to this program, also Malaysia, Brussels. Now we are in Italy, so yeah, I've been kind of lucky. I need to say that. Yeah.
I guess my more rational, scientific self, conscious self, is agnostic as well. But I am culturally Catholic, which means that I still practice some rites, some celebrations, and yeah, I carry those beliefs, that part of my personality well ingrained. I treasure how Catholicism has impacted my family and myself. And where have I traveled beyond Mexico? I had the opportunity to do a research stay before in Europe, in Catalonia. I was there 2 months. Afterwards, because of the program, I got visited some European cities as well. And between that Spanish Catalan research day, I also went to the USA to Florida for a congress, my college congress. Yes.
Oh, great. So with these travels, I'm sure you've experienced a lot of cultures. How is it different from the Mexican culture?
I mean, I believe my biggest difference I have found was through this program when I got the chance to visit Sri Lanka on the second semester for doing field tropical studies. Before, both the USA, at least the part I visited, which is full of Latinos, and Spain and other European countries, didn't feel so different for how Latin America is influenced by Western, Northern European culture. So I believe the biggest enrichment I have had is because of this program during the second tropical semester.
Yeah, in general, I would say that this side of the world is, particularly Europe, is in some way similar, especially in terms of values, the importance of economy, the individual, the cult of the individual. That it's followed by most of the people here in Europe. It's pretty much the same as in Mexico, let's say in general terms, although there's some varieties, some variations that are more local. For example, here in Italy is not the same vibe as Brussels, no?
Okay.
It has to do with the weather, with the food, with the history of the country, and etc. But this program also, well, as well as Daniel, and I think that to all of the people that studied, opened my mind to what exists even beyond Europe, because I never, for example, met before a Muslim person or a Muslim, someone that follows Islam. So for me, it was a pretty interesting experience to know the rules, the rituals, the celebrations, what is forbidden, what is allowed. So I think that showed me that there's more in the world than just the West side, no? Especially like going to Malaysia also was a really interesting experience, particularly because we stayed in a mainly Muslim state.
Okay.
So we have to follow some rules, more drastic for women than for men. But in terms of food, it's also crazy. That part of the world has delicious, amazing, delicious food. Amazingly delicious food. I enjoy it. Here in Europe, I mean, it's okay. Italy, pasta, it's okay. Pizza is okay. But durian.
But
I have no words.
Amidst all these travels and experiences, which one would you say was the greatest shock? Like, it just shocked you. It was a big culture shock.
I'm not sure if this counts as a shock.
Okay.
But in Mexico, or at least the way I perceive Europe, was completely different of how it is. There we kind of romanticized
romanticized.
the experience of being European. We always think that in some kind of sense they are superior than us, that we have less value as individuals. So coming to Europe, I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I was really afraid of this situation. But when I arrived, I noticed that it was pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. I mean, we used to live in the immigrant neighborhood that is in the Rue du Moulin in Brussels. So I saw a lot of things that I was not expecting in Europe. No, I was not expecting these things to happen in Europe. So I think that that brought me back to Earth, and yeah, I mean, and then I stopped romanticizing this idea. Yeah, of course.
Do you share the same sentiment?
I think I do. It's not necessarily that we believe Europeans are, in some individual sense, superior, but the grass is always greener in the other side. So
Okay.
we think life here is easier in all the dimensions when it's not. For me, also, a big shock was a bit of the relationship sometimes professors can establish with the students. I believe it comes into terms in the sense that graduate education in Mexico is very different than here in Europe. So maybe my expectations about what this program could teach me have changed a lot since I've started it.
Okay.
So yeah, also in Sri Lanka, there's still a very special spot for professors, as there should be. But maybe in Mexico it's less clear the line. When you become a graduate student, you start establishing another kind of relationship with the professors, more friendly, more equal.
So, okay.
Less of hierarchy.
So the program took you to Sri Lanka too,
Yes.
and it took you to Malaysia. Yeah. Oh, great. Nice. So, having brought in education already, how do you see the differences in education between Mexico and Europe?
Okay. Mexico's science graduate studies don't have this amount of classes. I believe that the thing is, bachelors here in Europe are shorter. Maybe other people already explained this for your videos, but yeah, the master's is like a direct continuation of the bachelor's, like bachelor's part 2. So you do have a lot of courses, a bit more advanced, but you don't focus that much on your research necessarily until the last semester. Whereas in Mexico, you even apply with your thesis project already decided, and you keep working it from the first semester to the fourth one in the case of a master's. So you get much more invested and specialized in just this subject. You also have some courses, but also they are a bit more engaging. You discuss papers, you go like above the line to try to get the furthest knowledge, really contemporary, modern stuff. Which
Yes. So I've been thinking about that during this whole program. I'm not really sure how to express all these observations that I have made throughout this year and a half, but it is clearly that there's an immense gap in different things between Mexican education, Mexican public education, and the general education in Europe. The language, that is really important if you really want to do or to follow a career internationally.
Okay.
The language is really important, and in Mexico it's really difficult to get good English classes. I'm just talking about English,
But you are
but
speaking
we
good
have
English today.
yeah, I mean, but because I have the opportunity and I have
Okay.
at least a small amount of resources that allow me to study 5 months.
Okay.
So
Oh, you studied English?
yeah, I studied
in
English 5 months.
No, you're
I did a
brilliant, bro.
I did a
Amigo, you're
crash
brilliant.
course of English, and the rest I've been learning by
Yeah.
reading and everything. But also, I do think, for example, in my experience in the Autonomous University of Tlaxcala, during the whole bachelor, we were forced because it was our responsibility to read a lot of papers,
Okay.
in English.
Mm.
So it was difficult, but at the end we more or less managed to do it.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, and also like you get the habit of reading papers, because reading science is not easy. So the whole formation, at least in Tlaxcala, was directed towards research and that, no. In the master that I did in the UNAM, the amount of papers that I needed to read in just 1 week was insane. Was insane. So you get used to in bachelor, and then in the master it becomes more intense. So you are really prepared. The thing is that, as I told you before, since in Mexico we believe, and this has been discussed by many different philosophers. We were talking about Samuel Ramos in his book El Perfil del Hombre. So we have the feeling that since we are Latin Americans, we need to give more. No, we always need to work harder, even harder than other people in the world, no? Although we don't know them. So
it is possible.
So we like
a lot of people in Latin America have not really left their countries before.
No, of course. Like the possibility for going out of Latin America is, I won't say zero, but it's really low. Especially if you don't have enough resources for at least paying the visa.
Talking about Mexico, is there any information you've heard? I mean, in the course of your travels, you've heard about Mexico that you feel like it's a stereotype, like, and it's quite weird.
There are many, I think so, but some of them are closer to reality than others. Of course, as it always happens with stereotypes, it is true that we're loud. Anyone could confirm by my voice. It is true that we're cheerful, but for example, I don't know, we're not always getting drunk, only in special occasions.
Every day is a special occasion.
We're not borrachos all the time. Today is a special occasion. What else? Cheers on that. There's also like this misconception that the whole country is possessed by the cartels, the narcotráfico, which up to certain level it has impacted us, it is true, but it's not a war zone, a complete war zone at all. There's obviously some territories more influenced than others, and particularly I think people from the global north restrain their idea of Mexico when they get to visit, or when, even if they're interested in it, only in the southeastern Yucatan Peninsula, because you find there the world wonder Chichen Itza, the most beautiful, not the most beautiful, but some of the most beautiful beaches. They skip, for example, the capital from where I come, with the idea that it's excessively dangerous, which is really not. The city is so big. Also, just to finish, we do not eat spice all the time. When we do it right, really spicy, but not all the time.
There's Mexicans that do not handle spice.
There's Mexicans that don't do it at all, yeah.